Resident Evil 4 Remake remixed and changed a lot of things from the original game, mostly for the better. Every character received special attention as to who they are and what their pasts were like, and how it all perfectly intertwined with the story. However, it wasn't only characters that received this treatment. Locations were given more backstory, and the lore of the Lost Plagas thickened. But there was something rather strange about this game's revision of the Lost Plagas. The Lost Plagas in Resident Evil 4 Remake was an ancient parasite that had been around in Spain since about the Bronze Age. They were sealed underground by the Salazar family until around the events of RE4, where Sadler convinced the Salazar we all know and hate to open the caves back up. Upon doing this, the parasites entered the host via spores, and we all know the rest. While that seems simple enough, that still doesn't quite answer exactly what this black goo is. When entering the infamous waterhall, a huge difference from the old game to this game are the huge fountains of black goo. Now at first glance, I thought of it to be nothing more than a cosmetic change for the level design. But when we read the letters left behind by Salazar's butler, who would eventually become one of the Verdugos, we see that a black goo was used to essentially enhance his intake of the Plaga and help transform him into a reborn creature. Later, when we try to save Ashley, she is given this same black goo during a ceremony that was only mentioned in the old game but never shown on screen. Another thing to note is that the Plaga has a sort of hive mind. This is how Sadler can control his host, all being a part of the holy body, as he calls it. Now keep all this in mind, because it will be important at the end of the video. But for now, let's shift our attention to Resident Evil 8, The Village. In 1919, in the underground caves of Europe, Mother Miranda discovered the megamycete, the core of the mysterious black goo called the mold, and realized that it had thousands of people's consciousness trapped inside. The megamycete had been stored underground for centuries, and it absorbed the memories and thoughts of the people buried in the region. This included Miranda's dead daughter, which drove her down her villainous path of bringing her daughter back to life. The megamycete was the root of the mold and served as the hive mind for all the deceased individuals who were affected by it. The mold was also experimented on by Miranda, and she eventually made a parasite that altered the DNA of the affected host's body. This parasite would enhance or transform their bodies into new creatures, the biggest examples of that being Lady D and her daughters, Monroe, and the lichen werewolf creatures you come across throughout the game. This is the basic information of the mold and megamycete. I won't touch on all the specifications because it isn't needed for this video. But now that it is out of the way, let's do a comparison of the two games and see how these two sinister liquids could be related. First thing to note is the locations of RE4 and RE8. RE4 takes place in Spain, and RE8 takes place in Europe. Both of these countries are neighbors to one another, so it isn't hard to imagine that the mold could have had a fungal type of relative nearby, or that it spread throughout the land. I personally think this black liquid in RE4 is either the mold from RE8, or at least a subspecies or relative to it. There are way too many similarities. Both were found in underground caves, both transformed their hosts into entirely new creatures, and while yes, technically, the parasite Miranda created turned her subjects into creatures, it was still fueled by the mold. And it seems the Lost Plagas is fueled by the same thing. Out of all the things that Capcom changed in the RE4 remake, I don't think it's a coincidence that they added this black liquid in. They know for a fact that this would have made fans question if that was indeed the mold. I personally think it 100% is. It is such a random and bizarre change that seems very out of place otherwise. What do you guys think? Do you think it is the mold? Do you think that these two liquids are at least related? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you would like to see more, please subscribe and let me know what you would like to see in the comment section below. All constructive criticism is more than welcome. Thank you and have a blessed day.